Thank you very much. Your Excellency Abdullah bin Ali Al-Amri, President of the United Nations Environmental Assembly and President of the Environmental Authority of the Sultanate of Oman. Your Excellencies, Heads of State, Vice Presidents, Prime Ministers, Ministers present, Ms. Inga Anderson, Executive Director of the United Nations Environmental Program, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to join you at this high-level segment of the 7th session of the United Nations Environmental Assembly. Your presence here in Nairobi reaffirms UNEA's position as the world's premier forum for shaping collective, decisive, and science-based response to the most urgent environmental challenge of our time. Nairobi is the largest UN compound in the world. It sits on 140 acres. And you will have a taste of environment around this compound. We convene, ladies and gentlemen, only days after the conclusion of COP30 in Belém, Brazil. It was a demanding negotiation and expectations were not fully met, but a tense global climate. Parties managed to keep multilateralism alive and send an unmistakable signal that the green transition is irreversible. Our task here in Nairobi is to translate these signals into concrete, actionable outcomes that address the triple planetary crisis of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. For Africa, climate change is not an abstract debate. It is a daily experience. Just days ago, Kenya was compelled to declare a national drought emergency in 20 counties, leaving our citizens at risk of severe hunger and water scarcity, and as delayed rains and climate stress devastate crops and livestock. Across our continent, from failed harvests to destructive floods, from intensifying storms to conflict worsened by resource scarcity, Africans are paying the price for a crisis they did not create. These extremes are becoming the new global normal. A few weeks ago, Hurricane Melissa struck Jamaica with unprecedented force, causing economic damage that is equal to the country's entire annual GDP. When I spoke to Prime Minister Holness when this hurricane struck, it was clear from his tone that that hurricane was devastating. In Southeast Asia, a single station in Vietnam recorded more than 1.7 meters of rainfall in just 24 hours. A rare cluster of cyclones triggered deadly floods and landslides in Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, killing thousands and displacing millions. Annual property losses from natural disasters have now been estimated at US dollars 150 billion. For Africa, these numbers add to the existing burdens of debt, infrastructure deficits, and limited fiscal space. Behind each statistic is a farmer, a small business, a community uprooted. They are the human face of a crisis accelerating faster than our institutions can keep pace. Meanwhile, the global economy is undergoing profound transformation. Artificial intelligence, digital technologies, and electrification are reshaping how we produce, work, and trade. If this transformation is not aligned with environmental protection, equity, and human dignity, we risk building a new high-tech economy on the old foundation of extraction, exclusion, and pollution. UNEA must therefore define the environmental guardrails for this new era of economic transformation. Excellencies, Africa envisions a future anchored in a modern digital and green economy powered by renewable energy, enabled by innovation, and climate-proofed from the start. Our task is to ensure that every investment in industry, in infrastructure, and technology reinforces resilience, protects nature, and creates opportunities for people. We already have a strong foundation. Africa has demonstrated leadership in climate ambition. The Africa Climate Summit held in Nairobi and Addis in 2023 and 2025 reframed the continent not as a victim of climate crisis only, but as a co-architect of global solutions. The decision to bring COP to Addis in 2027 further confirms the shifting center of climate leadership. Even amid immense challenges, cooperation delivers results. 2 days ago, I was at Tsavo, one of our national parks, to launch an operation to protect our black rhinos and to secure the world's largest rhino sanctuary. Just to give you context, Kenya hosts 80% of the world's black rhino population, and has the last two of the northern white rhinos, the last two. So biodiversity loss is not an abstract. It is real. Seeing 100 black rhinos in a single sanctuary is a triumph of dedication, science, and partnership. It is a reminder that when we commit, when we collaborate, and stay focused, we can reverse decline and restore life. Kenya is honored to serve as a convening ground for global environmental governance. Next year will be transformative as we host the 11th Our Ocean Conference to rally commitments for the blue economy, sustainable fisheries, marine restoration, ocean finance, blue carbon ecosystems, and coastal protection. We will also host the International Clean Cooking Summit, recognizing clean cooking as a public health, gender, development, and climate priority. Kenya is further strengthening its engagement in the Congo Basin Initiative, partnering with Central African countries to safeguard one of the world's most important carbon and biodiversity reservoirs. One of the most visible symptoms of the triple crisis is plastic pollution. Plastics now contaminate our soils, our rivers, our oceans, the food we eat, and even our bodies. This threat demands an ambitious and effective international treaty. Kenya remains fully committed to an agreement that addresses plastics across their full life cycle. We commend the International Negotiating Committee for the progress made under extreme complex circumstances. To support the next phase of negotiations, Kenya stands ready to host a resumed session of the INC here at UNEP headquarters, the birthplace of this global effort. Ladies and gentlemen, strengthening UNEP and UNEA is essential to addressing the planetary crisis. As host country, Kenya is steadfast in supporting the consolidation of UNEP's headquarters functions in Nairobi, which is consistent with the Rio +20, the future we want outcome. A stronger UNEP, working closely with the broader UN system, will deliver more coherent, cost-effective, and inclusive global environmental governance. Member states must match their high-level presence here with financial and political support for UNEP and for implementation in every country, in every part of the world. Environmental commitments must be backed by finance, technology, and capacity, especially for countries that are asked to safeguard global public goods while struggling with poverty and limited fiscal space. Excellencies, environmental action and economic transformation must move together. We can decouple growth from emissions and pollution, creating new jobs, industries, and markets. But this transformation must be fair, accessible, and also affordable. It cannot succeed if countries of the global south are asked to protect the planet while their people sink deeper into hardship. Nairobi has always been a city of dialogue, a place where difficult truths are spoken, where consensus is forged, and where compromise is achieved without surrendering ambition. Let this UNEA 7 send 3 clear messages: that multilateralism works when nations show up, negotiate honestly, and act decisively; that Africa will not only bear the brunt of climate impacts, but will also lead in providing solutions; and that we are committed to aligning our economies with planetary boundaries that ensure that jobs, dignity, and prosperity for our people go hand in hand with a stable climate, thriving biodiversity, and a pollution-free future. I urge this assembly to rise to the occasion and take decisions that can be felt in people's lives and seen in our natural world. In doing so, we protect citizens, future generations, and all life that depend on this planet. And because you too deserve to experience the country you help protect, I invite you to take some time to enjoy magical Kenya, our landscape, our wildlife, our oceans, and the warmth of the Kenyan people. In that same spirit, I extend a warm invitation to you to join us tomorrow as we mark 62 years of our hard-won independence, a celebration of our resilience, our democratic journey, and our shared commitment to safeguard the natural heritage that sustains us. I thank you for your attention.